10 network. Speed. Fuel TV. FoxSports.com. Fox Soccer. FSN. And Fox Sports, the greatest collection of sports properties in the world.
We are Fox Sports. Today, the game's biggest stars are on Fox Saturday Baseball. Justin Verlander's looking to become this year's first 20-game winner.
19 wins for Justin Verlander.
We're in Minnesota, where the AL Cy Young candidate hopes to widen the gap in the Central when the first-place Tigers take on the Twins. Plus, we've got the newest member of baseball's 30-30 club. Matt Kemp looks to continue his MVP campaign today against the Rockies. While in St. Louis, the Cardinals look to three-time NL MVP Albert Pujols to power them back into the playoff chase as the Pirates come to town. That's all next, because Fox Saturday Baseball starts right now.
Welcome to the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide pregame show on Fox. For the first time this year, the pregame show visits the Twin Cities. It's Game 2 between the leaders of the American League Central and the reigning champs of that division. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Rose, and welcome to another live edition of Fox Saturday Baseball. In just a few minutes, we'll get you out to your game in either L.A., St. Louis, or right here in Minneapolis, where Justin Verlander hopes to become the first Tigers pitcher in 20 years to win 20 games in a single season. But we start with the biggest news story that is gripping this country, Hurricane Irene. It actually hit land earlier today along the Carolina coast. High winds, huge waves, plenty of rain. It's now working its way toward the big cities in the Northeast. In fact, New York shut down its public transportation at noon today, and the hurricane has canceled several games already as well. Yanks and O's scheduled double dip in Baltimore. That has been postponed. Same goes with the Marlins and the Phillies in the city of brotherly love. Braves and Mets games scheduled for today and tomorrow out at Citi Field, postponed as well. Now the Red Sox trying to slide in a double dip against the A's before the hurricane makes its way up to Fenway Park. Game 1, Jason Varitek, a huge swat, his 9th homer of the year, and Big Papi laying it on as well with a 2-run double. But then Mother Nature arrived. They have had not one, but 2 lengthy rain delays. It's 9-2 Red Sox, this one in the 8th. Starting to rain here at Target Field as well as we welcome in Ken Rosenthal, senior writer from FoxSports.com. And Kenny, let's start with kind of a cool story. Jim Thome started the week as a Minnesota Twin, ended it as a Cleveland Indian. It was a waiver wire deal. Went 0-for-4 last night in the Tribe's 2-1 win over Kansas City, but nice to see him back where it all started. He's the Indians' all-time home run leader with 334 round trippers, and it kind of makes sense. They're trying to catch the Tigers in the AL Central, and they're going after another big-time Twins bat as well.
Yes, they were, Chris. They claimed Jason Kubel on waivers and actually exchanged names with the Twins, trying to arrange a trade. In the end, basically, the Twins just couldn't come to an agreement with the Indians. The Indians wanted to give less than the Twins were willing to ask for, and that's where it fell apart.
Heath Bell, 3-time All-Star closer, the San Diego Padres, claimed off waivers by the defending World Series champion San Francisco Giants. No deal came to fruition, but how close was he to being on the move?
Not close, Chris. This wasn't simply a block by the Giants, but they weren't all that aggressive either. Basically, they've got Sergio Romo coming off the DL really soon. Perhaps they're confident that Brian Wilson will be well as well. And also, after trading a big prospect for Carlos Beltran, they didn't want to do that again.
All right, Kenny, let's continue on with one of the great mysteries this year. The Yankees right-hander A.J. Burnett got lit up by the Orioles last night, 9 runs in 5 innings. Now, the interesting thing, Joe Girardi's going to trim the starting rotation from 6 to 5. Is he the odd man out?
He has to be the odd man out. Chris, he is rapidly descending into the pariah territory previously occupied by Kevin Brown, Carl Pavano, and others. Talked with a scout last night who was at the game. He said that A.J. Burnett is toast right now. No confidence, no fire, mechanical problems, no trust in his stuff to go inside on hitters. He's going to be the guy that leads that rotation.
Real quickly, what about the playoffs for him? Might he not even make the roster here? Is that possible?
Long way to go still, but right now it's hard to imagine.
Okay. All right, Ken Rosenthal, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll continue to follow your work on FoxSports.com as well. All right, before we get you out to your game, Fox would like to extend Our deepest sympathies to the family of Mike Flanagan. The 1979 Cy Young Award winner in the AL died Wednesday of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He spent more than 30 years with the Baltimore Orioles as a player, coach, executive, and a broadcaster. The left-hander won a ring with the team in '83. Now he will be remembered with a patch that reads Flanny on the O's jerseys. Mike Flanagan was 59.
For baseball here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and welcome to our coverage of the Detroit Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to our coverage of the Tigers and Twins right here on Fox. Mario and Pemba, glad to have you with us this afternoon. We've got a couple of teams basically headed in opposite directions. The Tigers trying to zero in on their first Central Division title ever, and Bert Blyleven, they have done just that. This is a team that has struggled in the second half. This year, a much different story.
Yeah, you know what, you look at the Detroit Tigers, they are running away with the division. Why? Because Cleveland, Chicago, and of course the Minnesota Twins and the Royals, they're having a tough time playing 500 baseball. Great pitching matchup here this afternoon. It'll be Justin Verlander looking for his 20th win against Carl Pavano.
And the Tigers have won 10 of 13 between these two teams, and once again today they will lean on their horse. Justin Verlander having a career-type year. Another no-hitter in his back pocket this season and a Cy Young in his sights. Verlander and the Tigers take on the Twins, and it's next on Fox. weather on Fox Saturday Baseball. 77 degrees right now here at the ballpark. Cloudy afternoon. And here is the starting lineup for the Detroit Tigers today. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. The Tigers have Austin Jackson leading it off in center field, followed by Ramon Santiago. Delman Young, the former Twin, is in left. Cabrera Martinez in the middle of the lineup, along with Alex Avila catching. And the bottom three today for the Tigers: Johnny Peralta, Wilson Benavides, and Ryan Rayburn batting ninth and playing in right field. Well, the opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds.
Well, for the Minnesota Twins, it'll be Carl Pavano on the mound, making his 27th start of the year, his third against the Tigers this season, looking for win number 7. A guy that relies on control and changing speeds. That's the biggest thing for Carl Pavano. You see the sprint pitcher profile. While Carl Pavano relies on the control and changing speeds. He has not won since July 7th. And over his last 8 starts, 0-4 with a 5.61 ERA. Now, August, he's been very steady. Last 4 starts, he's not had a win, but he has an ERA at 2.76.
And he'll take on a Tigers team that has been hitting the ball extremely well this year. One of the better offenses in the American League. And the first pitch of the ball game is a strike on Austin Jackson. It'll be Jackson, Santiago, and Delman Young against Carl Pavano. Down the middle, a strike, and the count quickly now is 0-2.
Well, Pavano is a strike thrower. He has averaged just 1.8 walks per 9 innings, so he will come right at you. He needs good defense played behind him.
That has been somewhat of an issue this year for the Minnesota Twins defensively. Typically, they are a very good defensive team.
Yeah, sad to say, Mario, it just has not worked out for the Twins. There's a slider down and away, and something that Jackson has done a lot of. 135th time he has struck out.
Here's the Twins defense. Ben Revere opens up in center field, flanked by Tassoni and Repko. Plouffe and Hughes up the middle. Morneau and Valencia on the corners. And your battery today, Drew Butera behind the dish, and Carl Pavano is on the hill. So Pavano has his first strikeout of the game. Now he'll check in with Santiago, who hits a 2-hopper to the second baseman Hughes. And a couple of quick outs.
You'll see this afternoon, both these starters like to get on that pitching rubber and work quickly. Pavano, one of these guys, we talked about defense. He's not going to strike out a lot of guys. That strikeout of Jackson just his 77th in 175 innings pitched. So he's a guy that, hey, when he's out on that mound, he throws strikes. Be ready behind you to maybe catch the ball and help him out.
And here's the former Twin Delman Young, who returned to Target Field last night. Had a couple of hits, couple of RBIs against his former teammates.
Yeah, Delman Young traded to the Tigers on August 15th.
Nice play down at third by Valencia. And Young is out at first base.
See, be ready, defense.
A quick 1-2-3 inning for Carl Pavano. No score at the end of one half. Already with the Minnesota Twins as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Here is his starting lineup turned in today. It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. They have Ben Revere leading it off in center field. Trevor Plouffe, the shortstop, and then Justin Morneau at first base. Jason Kubel is the DH today. Valencia and Tassoni in the middle of the lineup. The bottom three features Luke Hughes, Jason Repko, and Drew Butera.
And that lineup, we've been looking at Justin Verlander making his 29th start, his third against the Twins, having a Cy Young type year. Unbelievable. You look at what his numbers are: first in wins, first in innings pitched in the American League, first in strikeouts, first in opponent's batting average, hitting just 185. And here's a sprint pitcher profile for Justin Verlander. Like I mentioned, having a Cy Young year, outstanding. Boy, this guy, he's good for at least 6 or more and 100 pitches or more every outing. A staff workhorse. This guy has pitched to over 200 innings over 5 straight seasons now. And he has been just outstanding for the Tigers.
And he is facing a Twins offense this afternoon that is without Kadire, without Mauer, without Nishioka. So they are a little bit shorthanded here today. And Ben Revere will lead things off for the Minnesota Twins. Revere with a 6-game hitting streak. And Verlander's first pitch on the outer edge at 92. And so we'll keep an eye on the velocities today for Verlander, who, as we know, can get up to 97, 98, 99, and even triple digits. 1 ball, 1 strike on Revere.
I mentioned with Pavano, both these guys like to work quick. They get on that pitching rubber. Verlander looking for the sign from Alex Avila. Avila moves inside again. And the ball left up a little bit, and Ben Revere fouls it off.
I would imagine for Justin Verlander, keeping Ben Revere off the bases certainly is issue number 1 for him, because they are missing so many key pieces offensively. They want to try and get him on and run a little bit.
Well, Twins have really struggled as of late scoring runs. They've scored 5 runs over the last 6 games. So, yeah, you want to keep the fast guy off the bases. He leads the club with 24 stolen bases.
Verlander has 3 above average major league pitches. He has added a slider to go with his arsenal as well, which I'm sure major league hitters don't appreciate. Now he has 4 pretty good pitches. Slow roller hit towards short. Peralta going to have to bare hand. Too much speed for Revere.
Guys like Ben Revere, that's all they want to do is hit that ball somewhere softly if they can, and then utilize that speed. And you just saw the speed of Ben Revere right there. Great play by Johnny Peralta. He has been so solid for the Tigers at short. Only 6 errors on the year. That's the only play he could have made, and Revere just beat it out.
It'll be an interesting matchup now because Revere likes to run. The Tigers have a good throwing catcher in Avila, and Verlander has an outstanding move for a right-hander. Trevor Plouffe will step in for the Twins. .233 batting average for Plouffe. And Verlander gets ahead 0-1 with a fastball.
Yeah, Trevor Plouffe getting an opportunity to play on a regular basis now.
He has showed some power in the minor leagues, Bert, and I would assume they expect that eventually here at this level.
Yeah, down in AAA Rochester, he hit 15 home runs, 6 so far at the major league level.
That's hit well to right field. Rayburn is on the run. First out of the inning. Here's the Tigers' defensive alignment for this one. The outfield features the speedy Austin Jackson in center. Rayburn and Young will flank him. Up the middle on the infield, Santiago and Peralta. Benjamin Cabrera on the corners with Verlander and the young Alex Avila, the all-star this year, behind the dish.
This a lot like Comerica Park, this stadium here at Target Field. There's a lot of room out in the left field. It takes a pretty good poke to hit it out of here, so you need outfielders that can cover some ground. Good job by Rayburn.
Here is Justin Morneau. I was reading the comments of J.J. Hardy, who returned with the Orioles, saying that this was the toughest ballpark to hit a home run in when he was here. And it certainly, I think, has manifested itself. And
well, it's about time they built a ballpark for the pitchers.
Spoken like a true pitcher. There's a strike called on Morneau. Well, he has had to battle injuries, and it seems that's the major theme that Ron Gardenhire has had to deal with all season long. And it's not just injuries, but it's injuries to major pieces of your lineup.
You know, he started the season with the concussion, and he kind of went through that. Then he had a left wrist strain, also had neck surgery for Justin Morneau. It's been a frustrating year for the guy on your right and the guy on your left, Joe Mauer. They have just not produced the way that you expected them to. Total between those two guys, 5 home runs.
Yikes. And when
and
they
less
are
than
on,
60 RBIs.
when they are on, they're as good as anybody in the league. Of course, Mauer took some batting practice today.
Yeah, Mauer not playing because of a stiff neck. It's been bothering for the last 3 or 4 games. So Ron Gardenhire, who we met before the ballgame, talked about Joe Mauer, that he's just kind of getting a bad rap here because they think, well, he should be out there playing. And Gardy said, you know what, he has a tough time even, going left to right with his neck. How do I expect him to be behind the plate and also try to hit maybe in a key situation? There's Ron Gardenhire.
Has led the Twins to a first-place finish in 6 of his first 9 years. Missing outside. Let's check in now with Ken Rosenthal, who has more on Joe Mauer. Ken?
Well, also, guys, in that conversation we had with Ron Gardenhire, he said that Joe Mauer is going to work harder this offseason than he has in the past. Remember, last offseason, last December, he had knee surgery. Set him back. He never really got on track. Mauer confirmed to me that he is indeed going to do more. He's got some equipment he's putting into his house, exercise equipment, and he also is going to have a physical therapist on hand. He knows as he gets up there in age, he needs to do a bit more.
Yeah, Ken, it appears also, Bert, that baseball now, Major League Baseball players, it's a 12-month job to stay in shape now.
Mauer, 28 years old. A couple of years ago, he missed most of spring training, came back, missed most of April, and still won a batting title.
Runner goes, and it's fouled back by Morneau.
And it was one thing Ron Gardenhire said, yeah, maybe you can do that when you're younger, but as you play more ball games and, it just your life gets older, you have to start taking care of your body a little bit more. And that's what Joe Mauer is intending to do.
Morneau batting here with 1 on, 1 out. Justin Verlander going for win number 20 this afternoon here against the Twins. And the runner goes again.
Yeah, Verlander currently on a 7-game winning streak, where his ERA is 2.22 over his last 7 starts. And earlier this summer, he had a 9-game winning streak from May 7th to June 30th, where his ERA was 1.54. That's how nasty this guy has been.
On a line to shallow left. That's a base hit. Revere will move to second base, and the Twins have something going here in the first.
Well, not hit sharply, but right off the end of the bat. May have broke his bat, and the ball hit softly in front of Delman Young. So the Twins have a couple runners on with 1 out.
And now Jason Kubel. He's the designated hitter today. Batting .287. Kubel is among the walking wounded, or has been among the walking wounded this year with a sprained foot. He missed about a month and a half. Twins have been challenged offensively over the last week. They have an opportunity here. Kubel last night was 1 for 3 in the opener between these two teams, and against Verlander, good numbers.
Yeah, a lot of things are going through Jason Kubel's mind. His name was mentioned in the waiver wire. Was he going to leave the Twins? He's a free agent at the end of the season. As a player, you can say, well, it doesn't bother me, but you wake up and you see your name in the paper, you come to the clubhouse, and even your teammates are saying, hey, Jason, where are you going?
And it's not just the July 31st trading deadline anymore. It's now August 31st, because deals can also be made in August with waivers. Lifted back out of play.
Carroll, you can.
2 balls and 1 strike on Kubel.
This is where Verlander really has the ability to just turn it up a notch. A couple runners on right here, even though it's a first inning. He'll try to find that one nasty pitch that maybe picks up a strikeout, leading the American League in strikeouts with 212 in 210 innings pitched.
Of course, Ken Rosenthal mentioned earlier on the pregame show today that the Indians claimed Jason Kubel. Unable to strike a deal, and Kubel certainly can be a valuable addition to wherever he ends up next year.
Hey, you look at the 3 prior years, he averaged over 20 home runs a year and about 90 runs driven in. You mentioned he missed about a month and a half because of the strained left foot.
Wave and a miss. And Verlander dials up to 97.
Hey, there it is right there. Now, Verlander also has a strikeout pitch, and that's the curveball. But, you know, we saw him at the first pitch of the ball game at 92. There's a 97. Inner half of the plate on the black.
He becomes a different animal with runners on base. And typically we have seen this year, especially late in games, he will dial it up. Well, Ron Gardenhire was mentioning that to us before the game today. What makes him so difficult is he'll throw 93, 94, but when he needs it late in games, that extra 2 or 3 miles an hour makes a big difference.
Yeah, I grew up watching Bob Gibson pitch, and, you know, they said that about Bob Gibson, that he would be rolling along at 91, 92, all of a sudden in a tough situation. Here comes 96, 97. You know, guys have that, and I think Verlander has learned that over the years of pitching. I remember he came up in 2006. He was the American League Rookie Pitcher of the Year, but you know, the fastball, the average, the highest fastball average at 95 for Justin Verlander. Then he had that 1 year, Mario, in 2008. He was 11-17. He's been lights out after that.
Breaking ball got him.
There's that curveball.
And Kubel is caught looking. First strikeout of the game for Verlander.
Well, he's got a good tight rotation. So after a couple of pitches at 97, 98, and then he drops the hammer. And even though that ball was up, that completely fooled Kubel. So a big strikeout for Verlander.
That'll bring up Danny Valencia. You mentioned Bob Gibson. The one thing that Gibson shares with Verlander, or vice versa, is that they can intimidate. They are not afraid to pitch inside. And that's a big part of Verlander's game as well, intimidation.
You have to pitch inside to be successful. Both sides of the plate.
Runner just getting back. Revere diving in.
Good timing play right there between Santiago and Verlander, and that's what you want to do as a pitcher. Throw it about high, you know, eye level. You don't want to try to throw that ball right on the bag because maybe it can get into center field. This is just trying to keep Revere close to second and let the Twins know that, hey, I have that move.
Avila blocks it. 1 ball and no strikes on Valencia. And one of the things we talk about with pitchers, the ilk of Justin Verlander and all the really great ones, if you have opportunities early in a game, you really need to take advantage of those.
Yeah, and the Twins know they have to get to this guy early. That's the way you beat good pitchers. You have to get them within the first 1, 2, 3 innings. And for Carl Pavano, he knows he's got to shut the door to the first 3 innings because who his mound opponent is.
Valencia has hit with some power this year. 14 home runs for Minnesota.
Yeah, he and Michael Kadire leading the Twins with 61 runs batted in. And 2 straight breaking balls by Verlander.
Valencia having himself a pretty good homestand, 10 for 28. Twins do not want to waste this opportunity here in the first inning. Verlander behind in the count, 2 balls, no strikes. Valencia, in fact, in his last 15 is hitting at a .321 clip. So he's been a welcome sight.
Yeah, Danny just 26 years old in his first full season with the Twins. Last year came up in the middle of June, ended up hitting .311 for the year.
2-0 fastball is outside.
Not a lot of walks, a lot of pitches so far here in the first inning. 24 so far. And you'd like that ratio to be, you know, 2 strikes to every ball thrown.
Rene Tassoni waiting on deck. Really, aside from the breaking ball that he struck out Kubel with, the command has not been crisp in the early goings. He was swinging 3-0.
Yeah, he got the green light right there. And Verlander on that high fastball. Valencia hitting it straight back.
How much of that right there, Bert, do you think is a product of the Indians having trouble scoring runs here, turning them loose?
Yeah, I think, you know, the Twins have not scored a lot of runs. So, you know, you have a guy that right now in this lineup has the most home runs. You give him the green light. Try to get on the board early.
Said Indians there, obviously meant the Twins. 3-1 on Valencia. And Verlander issues the walk. So the bases are loaded for Minnesota.
Well, it's almost like he said, you know what, I'll take my chances on Tassoni right here. He didn't want to go with another fastball up in the zone. Jeff Jones, a pitching coach, watching his workhorse right-hander throw a lot of pitches here in the first.
And Verlander, when he typically goes out, will rest the bullpen on that day because he is good for 7, 8, and many times 9 innings. As Tassoni digs in.
Delman Young traded to Detroit opens up the door for another outfielder, and Rene Tassoni getting that opportunity to get some at bats at the major league level. So Verlander fighting his control a little bit here.
28 starts, 8 runs allowed in that first inning. Popped him up. Foul ground, third base side for Benemit. Verlander pitches out of the jam. And the Twins strand 3 will go to the second from Target Field. Sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. And by Ford, Drive One. Back here at Target Field in a scoreless ball game as we go to the top of the second. The Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. Another big crowd here at Target Field. The Twins letting a scoring chance go by the wayside. It'll be Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Alex Avila here in the second.
Yeah, Mario, and that has been the biggest problem for the Twins over the last 5+ games is opportunities like that. They have not been able to take advantage of that.
Verlander throwing 28 pitches in that first inning. By contrast, Carl Pavano threw just 7. Cabrera batting .323, had 3 hits in last night's opener here. In there for a strike in the off-speed pitch. 1-1.
Yeah, Cabrera missed last Sunday's game a couple of days ago with the paternity leave. So congratulations to Miguel Cabrera and his family on a new addition of a little boy.
Christopher Alexander for Cabrera, his 3rd child.
First son, I believe.
First
right?
son, correct. Pavano is 2-1. Don Kelly of the Tigers also on paternity leave. His little boy Luke was born yesterday, so the Tigers adding a few children to the stable. That's driven toward right field. That ball is up, and that ball is gone. It's an opposite field home run for Miguel Cabrera, who muscles up the other way.
He has such great power to all fields, and Pavano left the ball out, and Cabrera, not trying to pull it, just took it with him down that right field line. His 24th home run of the year. It's the 18th home run that Pavano has allowed, and you see, not a bad pitch, but this big donkey right here, boy, he's so strong.
And that's really what separates him from a lot of the great hitters in this game, the ability to hit lasers the opposite way. Cabrera's 82nd RBI of the year. Tigers on top 1-0. Here's Victor Martinez.
Boy, Martinez has been a nice addition to Jim Leland and their offense, hitting at .323. The Tigers have 3 of the top 10 in the batting race. Martinez 4th in the American League in hitting, tied with Cabrera coming into this at bat.
Slow roller toward the second baseman Hughes. 1 gone. Well, the other thing Martinez does, Bert, is it gives other managers pause when they think about walking Miguel Cabrera intentionally, which they did quite a bit of last year. And Martinez sitting behind him now will make you pay.
That's what a good lineup does. They protect each other.
Here is Alex Avila. And what a season it has been for the young man who made his first All-Star team. In fact, the starting catcher for the American League.
Yeah, Avila just 24 years old in his first year as far as being the everyday catcher. And when we say everyday catcher, he has been the everyday catcher.
Well, this month he's hitting .403. The on-base percentage is over .500 in the month of August. So Avila may not want to see the calendar turn to September. And he drives one deep to right field. Way back. This one has a chance. And it is gone. Alex Avila goes deep with his 17th. And the Tigers have touched up Pavano for a pair of long balls.
And his 7th home run in the month of August. So Avila, who one time caught 18 straight games every inning, finally got a day off a couple days ago. Gets a fastball, and that uppercut swing puts the Tigers up 2-0.
Now Johnny Peralta. Plouffe will charge, and Peralta is out of a slow roller. 2 gone.
A nice play right there by Trevor Plouffe. Had to come in, charge hard, and get the out at first.
Tigers have been doing a whole lot of smiling these days as they have opened up a lead of 6.5 in the Central. Avila and Peralta have made the lineup a whole lot deeper this year.
You know, Mario, you look at their lineup, they're doing it as a team. You know, there aren't, other than, you know, the batting race as far as, you know, 3 guys in the top 10. They're not really in the home runs. They're not in the runs batted in like in the top 5. They're just playing well as a team.
Well, Dave Dombrowski has also done a very good job of augmenting with some pieces during the trading deadline. He picked up Wilson Betemeth, who is up there right now, and he's provided a really good bat. And of course, the trade for Delman Young and a starting pitcher in Doug Fisker.
Betemeth, as a Tiger, hitting .324 and hitting .372 as a left-handed hitter. Of course, coming over from the Kansas City Royals.
The 2-1. Pulled foul. 2-2 on Betemeth. Well, here are the Ford keys to the game. Well, for the Tigers to continue their winning ways, and of course the Twins right now in an unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Gardenhire, when we talked to him earlier, Mario, just said, you know what, they hope to play a factor as the season winds down. Who's going to win the division? A lot of games left between the Tigers, the White Sox, and the Cleveland Indians for the Twins.
And Pavano strikes out Betemeth to end the inning. A big inning for Detroit, though. A couple of solo shots. It started with Miguel Cabrera going the opposite way. And Alex Avila joined the party. 2-0 Detroit. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
There's a Budweiser deck up here at Target Field.
What a gorgeous facility this is.
Oh, I tell you what, they did it right here in Minnesota. Second year here at Target Field, and they have averaged 40,000 people every game.
Well, the Twins trying to get the offense going. They had an opportunity in the first, but left the bases loaded. Now Verlander facing Luke Hughes here in the second.
Hughes has never faced Verlander, so he'll take a look at his arsenal that Verlander will throw at him.
Down the middle it comes. For strike two. Verlander threw 28 pitches in that first inning before finally getting to Sony to pop up with the bases loaded. Hughes laying off the breaking ball.
Well, you can see right there that over the last 6 ball games, it says 2 runs or less, but it's been 1 run or less for the Twins.
DET AT MIN gobbles it up at third base. Hughes is retired.
Take another look at that right there. Now, they've scored on Ron Gardenhire. It's very frustrating because they have had situations to get a big 2-out hit. They've been unable to do that. That's the all-time Twins history. 6 straight games.
Well, in meeting with the Twins skipper before the game, you can just tell there was that twinge of disappointment today, Bert, because he's just not used to having a team that has performed like this. Of course, the absence of Joe Mauer and the injuries that he has endured has had a lot to do with it. Here's ball 1 to Jason Repko.
Well, you know, when they came out of spring training, Mario, there was not a guy on a disabled list. They were the only team in the American League that came out of spring training semi-healthy. Nobody was on a disabled list. Boy, have they taken advantage of it.
And that's a really good feeling coming out of spring training when you come out healthy, because really that's one of the main focuses of any manager in spring.
Well, Jason Repko just coming off the disabled list. He was on there with a left shoulder bursitis. Pops it straight up.
Avila runs out of room.
Yeah, not a lot of room between home plate and a backstop here at Target Field. See the room right there. Not like Oakland. Oakland, great place to pitch.
Absolutely.
All that foul territory.
Well, we saw an instance last night where a ball got away from the catcher and bounced right back to him, holding the runner at third base. So you've got to be careful. 1-2 on Repko. That breaking ball from Verlander, so much is made of his fastball and his fastball velocity, and deservedly so when you can throw it 100 miles an hour, but yet it's the breaking pitches, his secondary stuff, that is so impressive.
The fastball stays on one plane, and that curveball will go across 2 planes. It'll start at the head of Avila and then drop down. There's a good fastball just missing away. As a hitter, of course, you have to try to hit that ball as it's on that downward plane, where a fastball, you know, you can just hit it sharply, where that curveball, and I knew a little bit about a curveball, but it just, you have to try to hit it solid.
You knew a little bit about a curveball?
Little bit.
There's the 97. 3 balls, 2 strikes now on Repko. Well, Verlander is also one of those guys that is not afraid to throw his changeup to a right-handed batter. It is that good.
I think in this situation right now, it's here. Basically, here it is. Hit it. He's got a 2-run lead. Watch the one finger go down. Yes, little pinky away. And even though that ball was inside, you know, it had something on it. It had some giddy up on it. So in this situation, when you're facing that number 8 hitter in the lineup, it's basically, here it is. I'm going to try to throw it over the heart of the plate and hope you pop it up. These are the guys you have to get out. 7, 8, 9 hitters in a lineup. And Repko won't let him get them out. Fouling off some pitches, making that pitch count go. Right now at 40 pitches for Verlander.
8 of them in this at bat. Repko, the former Los Angeles Dodger, spent 5 seasons in the Dodgers organization. And Repko really giving him a battle here.
Yeah, Repko's been a good 4th to 5th outfielder for Ron Gardenhire over the last couple of years. Not much offense you're going to get out of Repko, but you're going to get a lot of good defense. He can cover a lot of ground out there.
Verlander came into this game leading the league in strikeouts. He has only one so far. That one's banged off his foot. So the battle continues.
Well, already has that pad there, but he hit off his right knee. Or maybe his next at bat we'll see a pad on his right knee.
3-2. And he lost in ball 4.
Oh, good at bat for Repko.
Well, of course, we've been battling some bad weather here in our nation. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal now with more on that. Kenny?
Well, guys, Justin Verlander grew up in Maidens, Virginia, about 10 miles from the epicenter of Tuesday's East Coast earthquake. His mom told the Detroit Free Press that when the rumbling started, she thought her washing machine was out of alignment. And then she realized, wait a second, I'm not doing laundry. Now, Michael Cuddyer also grew up in Virginia, the Twins right fielder, but he is more worried about Hurricane Irene. He lives now in Chesapeake, Virginia, about 10 miles from the coast, and he also owns a beach home in North Carolina, so clearly his mind is on what's going on in the East Coast.
Yeah, Ken, ours is as well, and really, Bert, there have been a lot of players coming out of the Virginia area. In fact, Verlander is one of them, Cuddyer is one of them, the Upton brothers, Zimmerman and Wright, so there are a lot of major leaguers right now concerned about what is going on in that area of the country.
Yeah, I have some friends that live there. Actually, a former teammate of mine, Keith Atherton, lives in that area, and you know, he's right on that Chesapeake Bay, and he's really concerned. His house is boarded up, just kind of waiting it out.
Drew Butera, the batter, with 1 on and 1 out. Runner goes. Soft line drive is caught by Peralta, and they will get a double play.
Well, they tried a little hit and run. It did not work.
Well, the Twins are turned back. Verlander gets a bit of a break, and we will return to Minneapolis after a word from our local Fox station. Fusion Pro Glide. Back here at Target Field, where the Tigers have a 2-0 lead over the Minnesota Twins on our way to the top of the third. Ryan Rayburn leads it off against Carl Pavano. Rayburn, then Jackson, and then Santiago.
Now Rayburn in his 6th season with the Tigers. First came up in 2004.
He is playing right field today. He's a versatile guy. He can play some infield positions, including second base. But with Brennan Bosch right now nursing a sore thumb, Rayburn getting the call out in right this afternoon. And the Bosch injury is one that has Jim Leyland concerned a little bit, because he is one of those guys that hits at the top of his lineup.
And Bosch having a very solid year. 16 home runs. He's driven in 54 runs in 114 games and hitting .283.
Here's the 1-2 to Rayburn. Soft ground ball, third base side, cut off by Valencia. Nicely done. 1 out in the Tigers' third.
Now, shortstops appreciate that. Anything that a third baseman can do to cut that ball off. It would have been a tough play for Trevor Plouffe. He would have had to try to backhand it and then throw maybe in front or behind Valencia. So here's Valencia right here, cuts in front of the shortstop Plouffe, and then on the run able to flip it over to Morneau for the first out.
Carl Pavano now has picked up quite a few ground ball outs. In fact, he has 5 of them already in this game. Jackson struck out to start the game back in the first. Jackson, an interesting player here for the Tigers. He is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. He had a terrific year last year. In fact, Birdie finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting to Neftali Feliz, but he has taken a bit of a step back offensively, but with the glove, he's as good as it gets.
Well, he hit .293 last year in 151 ball games. But he does, like I mentioned, strike out a lot. Led the American League with 170 strikeouts. So he's happy that Adam Dunn and Mark Reynolds are in the American League now.
Absolutely. Adam Dunn has just really been something else. It's really hard to figure out.
Well, he's like Mark Reynolds. When they make contact, that ball just jumps off their bat. The contact part's been the hard part.
It'll go foul down the right field line. Jackson scored 3 times in last night's Tigers win in the opening game in the series.
Yeah, Mario, you look at Jackson. He's only 24 years old. He's still a youngster. He's still learning the game of baseball. Came over from the Yankee system. Good minor league numbers for Jackson in 5 minor league seasons for the Yankees, hitting .288. A lot of speed.
Bouncing ball to second for Luke Hughes. And yet another ground ball out for Carl Pavano. 2 gone. Well, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the AL West leading Rangers head to Boston to battle the Red Sox in a possible playoff preview, or the White Sox take on these AL Central leading Tigers, or the Reds square off against the Cardinals in a showdown between NL Central rivals. Next week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Chevrolet, begins at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. 2 outs for Santiago. Shattered bat. 0-2 on Santiago.
Well, Tigers lead the season series over the Twins 10-3, and another reason that the Tigers are having a lot of success. They have controlled the Central Division, 31-18 in the division, and that's kind of how Ron Gardenhire has won a division. 72 of the 162 ball games are played within your division, and that's the division you want to beat up on.
Well, it certainly becomes more important, obviously, with the unbalanced schedule, which exists right now in Major League Baseball. And you can argue whether or not we should have it balanced or unbalanced. But since it's unbalanced, you need to win within the division.
You sure do.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And I guess to take that a step further, protect home turf as well. And the Twins have struggled here, at least in the month of August at home. Slow roller hit toward first. Morneau picks it up. And the inning is over. Carl Pavano, a quick 1-2-3 inning. 2-0 Tigers. Of the third, Justin Verlander and the Tigers on top 2-0 in this one on home runs by Cabrera and Avila. Solo shots. It'll be Ben Revere leading it off for Minnesota. Top of the lineup for Ron Gardenhire, Trevor Plouffe, and Justin Morneau to follow.
Revere started this ball game off for the Twins offensively in bottom of the first inning. A little weak ground ball to Johnny Peralta and beat it out for an infield base hit. 2 hits for the Twins. One by Revere, one by Morneau, first coming in the first inning.
Verlander's 0-1. No balls and 2 strikes on Revere.
That's a changeup right there. In a good spot down in the strike zone.
And the breaking ball just missed. Verlander is 28 years old. Here's the 1-2. And the Tigers have him locked up. They signed him to a 5-year deal in March of 2010. So he is locked up through the 2014 season. Two and two, the count remains on Revere.
Well, we talked about it on top of the show, Mara. This guy has been a workhorse. Now, he's throwing a lot of pitches in 2+ innings. But a guy that has averaged over 100 pitches. He has not had an outing where he has thrown less than 100 pitches in an outing. And his fewest amount of innings in a ball game, 6.
That'll get foul. Well, that's one of the amazing stats. Verlander, as you mentioned, has now thrown less than 100 pitches in any outing this year. And you figure along the way, even the best, and Jared Weaver can attest to this, you'll have one of those games where you just get bounced out in the 3rd or 4th inning. It just has not happened for Verlander. Extremely consistent. And he got him, strike 3.
Well, he went inside, and it looked like maybe Bruce Dreckman, after the conversation they had with Repko, and between innings, good pitch right there. Now, remember Repko last inning in the 11 pitch at bat, Verlander finally walked him on a low fastball. He thought, hey, no way, that's not low. I need that pitch right there. And when he got the final out, you can see he said, what? No way. And in between innings, Verlander going up to Dreckman and kind of settling things down a little bit.
How often did you do that when you played?
Quite a lot, really. You know, it's nice that you can have a conversation with an umpire over a certain pitch, and then feel that he's still going to be fair. So Verlander right there having an opportunity, and you almost have to smile a little bit and say, yes, how's your family doing? Okay, thank you very much.
Bruce Dreckman behind the plate. Porter, Drake, and Darling are the other umpires today. 4-man crew working this one. It all, I guess, is about the way you present yourself and present your argument. Yeah,
and you don't want to show up the umpire out on that mound. And Verlander, even though we saw his mouth moving, no way. He didn't throw his hands up and, start to argue with the umpire.
Did Plouffe go? He did not.
Yeah, pretty good movement on that fastball. He's not only has that 4-seam fastball, he has that 2-seamer that'll run in on right-handers like that last pitch.
Trevor Plouffe flied out his first time up, 0 for 1. And now again the count has gone full as Verlander misses with a fastball.
Yeah, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. You can see the strikeouts leading the American League over Felix Hernandez of the Mariners.
Swing and a miss, and give Verlander another one. Third of the day for Justin Verlander.
It's the location of his pitches right there. He's still upset a little bit at the amount of pitches he's throwing, but you see the delivery straight over the top. Good arm angle in a great spot down and away. This is where pitchers want to control. Outer way. Look at that. Look at the location right there. And Plouffe swung through it.
Justin Morneau with 2 outs. Base hit back in the first. The Twins right now looking back to that first inning when they loaded the bases but could not score against Verlander. One ball and 1 strike. Morneau is a native Canadian, and he wears the number 33. In fact, back in 2005, J.C. Romero was traded away to the Angels. That opened up number 33, and Morneau wanted it because that was the number of his hockey idol, Patrick Waugh. And growing up, Morneau played quite a bit of hockey himself.
Yeah, very good hockey player.
Slow roller back to the mound. And Verlander will have himself an easy 1, 2, 3 innings. So the ace of the Tigers starting to settle in now with a 2-0 lead. Sponsored by AT&T, Rethink Possible, and by Burger King and the all-new BK Burger and Chicken Minis. Top four here at Target Field. Carl Pavano back at the hill. The Tigers have a 2-0 lead in this one, courtesy of home runs by Cabrera and Avila back in the second inning. First pitch line to left off the bat of Delman Young. Right now we check in with Chris Rose for a DirecTV game break.
Three-run shot. His 18th of the year as the Rays take care of the Jays. 6-5 your final. Remember, to see every baseball game the most in HD, it's 1-800-DirecTV. And guys, they improved to 72-59, which is the same exact record as the Detroit Tigers, except they're 8 games back in the AL East now.
Yeah, Chris, and B.J. Upton's name came up quite a bit, I think, in trade talks during the deadline.
Yeah, he's such a talented player, and you know, he's had some problems down in Tampa, and don't be surprised maybe this winter he goes somewhere else.
Plouffe trying to start a double play, and he does. 6-4-3. Boy, Pavano continues to get the Tigers to pound the ball into the dirt.
Well, he's all about changing speeds, and again, we talked about it. Pavano needs good defense behind him. Nice backhanded play by Plouffe over to Hughes, and then the double play. Pitcher's best friend. Pavano likes it.
Wasn't tailor-made, but Cabrera not the speediest of runners, so they had time to turn it. Now Victor Martinez. 322 this year for Victor. And he has really torched Minnesota pitching this season. Here's the ratio for Carl Pavano. 9 ground ball outs. Slap foul.
Yeah, a couple strikeouts. Pavano again, no walks. He's going to make that hitter earn his way on. Now, he left a couple pitches up in the second inning. One to Cabrera that he hit over the right field fence, and then Avila hitting it toward right center. Drew Butera behind the plate. Wanted fastball in, but here's the changeup. And Pavano, I've talked to him, he has two different types of changeup. He has almost like a little bit of a split finger, and then he'll add a finger to that baseball. So he gets different speeds off of that changeup.
Pavano won 17 for this Minnesota Twins team last year. Soft floater to left. That's a base hit. So Martinez, who hits chalk line to chalk line, goes the other way.
Yeah, good piece of hitting right there. Again, a pitch left up a little bit. Martinez doesn't do what he did in his first at bat, turn it over and hit that ground ball to second. This time he just takes that pitch, looked like another changeup, and just hit it softly in the left field. That's how you hit 300 year in and year out.
Here is Alex Avila, who homered in his first at bat, his 17th of the year. And he overtook Russell Martin late in the voting for the All-Star game to start for the American League. Alex has led American League catchers in quite a few different categories. Jim Leyland told Avila last year, you know what, going into spring training next season, you are going to be considered our #1 catcher, and so be ready. And when he came to camp, he was ready. And they say that Avila is one of the hardest workers in the big leagues, and all of that hard work is certainly coming through here this year.
From a good baseball family, you know, and they know what they need to do. Now, you know, his dad Al is with the Tiger organization, assistant to the general manager, and his grandfather Ralph Avila retired as VP with the LA Dodgers. So good baseball genes, I guess.
1 ball, 1 strike on Avila. Two balls, 1 strike. Wave and a miss. And Avila now with the count.
Well, there's that good changeup right there. Avila didn't know whether to swing or not. For Pavano, he's making his 27th start. This is his 12th career start against the Tigers coming into today's ball game. He's 5-3 in his first 11 starts against the Tigers. Good block by Butera. Yep.
3-2 on Avila. Right now an 11-game hitting streak for the Detroit catcher. He's also had a 10-gamer. And he has been ultra consistent this year for Detroit offensively. And then we've talked about the fact that with the knee injury to Victor Martinez, he basically has had to play every single day. He tailed off a little bit in the month of July, but really has picked it up here in August. And it's fouled away. Let's check in now with Ken Rosenthal with more on Alex Avila. Ken?
Well, you guys talked about his dad, the Tigers assistant GM, Al Avila. Al had told his longtime friend and the Tigers scouting director, David Chad, not to draft his son. He didn't want him to be viewed as the product of nepotism. Well, David Chad said, listen, I know this kid's makeup better than anyone else's in the draft. If he's the best player on the board, I'm taking him. Well, the Tigers took Alex Avila, 5th round of the 2008 draft. No one says nepotism now.
Nope, and they're not looking back either, Kenny. Inning over. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Here at Target Field, still 2-0 Detroit. It is 2-0 in favor of the Tigers over the Minnesota Twins, and Jason Kubel will lead things off here in the home half of the fourth. Kubel, then Valencia, and then Rene Tassoni against Justin Verlander, who had a snappy 1-2-3 third. He had a couple of strikeouts last inning as well. Jason Kubel struck out back in the first inning. Came in a lifetime .282 career hitter against Detroit pitching. And Verlander misses away 2-0. Jason Kubel this year, Bert, was on pace to really become an all-star, wasn't he? Missed about a month and a half with the spring.
Yeah, he really helped carrying this ball club. Twins struggled in April and May, and then they got hot in June and part of July. But since the all-star break, they have really struggled, especially here in the month of August. Twins are just 5-18 in the month of August.
And they've been outscored in that span, 127-69. So it really has been a struggle. 3-1 meanwhile on Kubel. Three balls, 2 strikes. Kubel has had 3 straight years of 20 or more home runs. 28 years old.
Yeah, his best year coming in 2009 when he hit an even 300. 28 home runs, drove in 103.
To the right side, Cabrera, sprawling play. Verlander will cover for the out.
Boy, you love those first basemen that are able to do that.
Chevrolet proudly supports the great game of baseball at all levels. See how they're making kids' baseball dreams come true across the USA at ChevyBaseball.com. Cabrera has made it a habit of making that play. He has really turned himself into a fine defensive first baseman.
I remember he came up with the Marlins as a third baseman, and then when he came to Detroit, they said, you know what, we're going to try you over at first. And a lot of extra work, and Cabrera's made himself into a very steady first baseman.
Here's Danny Valencia. Bouncing ball to third. Betemit cuts it off with a nice spin move as well. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at Cabrera right here off the bat of Jason Kubel, diving to his right and then coming up and then getting the ball before Verlander gets to the bag. So a nice defensive play, and a nice defensive play right there by Betemit at third.
The one thing Cabrera has also learned in that position is how far he should stray off the bag on a ground ball hit to the right side, and that takes some doing. It takes some experience.
Also know where your second baseman's playing. Is he shading the hitter up the middle, or is he playing him the pull?
And that's been a bit of a challenge this year for the Tigers. They've had some injuries at that position. Carlos Guillen has played there. Santiago, Rayburn. They've had a few guys roll through there. 1 ball, 1 strike on Rene Tassoni.
But what you have, the solid part, is that shortstop, Johnny Peralta. He is the block, I guess, of the infield.
Bunted toward third. And they're going to let it roll, and it'll foul. Hit the lip of the grass and took a left turn.
Well, it's one thing I just don't understand. Tassoni's going to go back and hit again, but here there's 2 outs. And a guy bunts. And you can see the rotation of that ball carrying it foul. But Verlander, I think, probably 2-3 years ago, somebody did that. He would really get upset.
No question.
And now he's kind of taken it a little bit, that, okay, that's part of the game. But me as a former pitcher, I just don't understand it with 2 outs. Tassoni right here should be trying to hit a double and get into scoring position. He's not a guy that can steal a base.
Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball, foul.
If it's nobody out, 1 out, yeah, then you try to bunt to get on and hopefully create a big inning. But with 2 outs, try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Try to hit a double. Try to get it to second base. At least you get in the scoring position for the next hitter.
But it also brings up the point that you spoke of with Verlander. It's part of his evolution. Things like that don't bother him as much as they used to in the past, and that's part of just becoming a really good big league pitcher.
Well, it's maturing. And Verlander, you mentioned, 28 years old. This is his 7th season with the Tigers. 4-time American League All-Star. 19-game winner last year.
And he's done really good work in the Central this year as well. I mean, he's absolutely dominated within the division. He's 10-1. His pitch count right now at 75.
Yeah, a lot of pitches for Verlander here with 2 outs in the 4th inning, making his 193rd major league start, 102 major league wins, only 57 losses.
Tremendous percentage. The 2-2. Got him. Strike 3. Tassone is caught looking, and Verlander has his 4th strikeout of the afternoon. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Tigers ace. Field, Tigers and Twins, and the Tigers have a 2-0 lead. Carl Pavano back to the hill. He is facing Johnny Peralta here in the 5th. Bottom 3 in the Tigers lineup, and Peralta looks at ball 1.
Yeah, Pavano only 51 pitches. He's given up 4 hits, but 2 of the 4 have left the ballpark. Miguel Cabrera's home run in the 2nd, and then Alex Avila 1 out later, a solo home run.
Who throws away the ground ball back into the camera well. And Peralta will take second base.
Well, they've been working a lot here in Minnesota about Trevor Plouffe's throws to first. He lost his job earlier this year, but he has plenty of time to set up and then just overshoots Justin Morneau into the camera well. So for Plouffe, his 5th error of the year. Another area that has really plagued the Twins. Too many errors. That's 94 errors on the year for the Twins.
For so many years, we would see the Twins at the top of the list in team defense and team pitching, but it's been a big departure this year.
A lot of injuries, a lot of guys playing out of position. It's been a long year for Ron Gardenhire.
There is Wilson Bettamy. Ball 1 to the Tigers' 3rd baseman, who struck out against Pavano back in the 2nd. Lifted in the air toward left field. Tassone is on the run, still coming, and makes a sliding play in foul ground. Terrific running catch by Rene Tassone.
Well, great concentration, great speed by Tassone going into foul territory and then sliding and able to come up with this ball. Trevor Plouffe, you can see the ball kind of snow-coned in his glove a little bit, but able to keep it in. Nice defensive play in foul territory by Rene Tassoni.
It's the first fly ball out recorded by Carl Pavano. Tassoni chipping in with some good defense, just as we spoke of the Twins struggling on defense this year. They turned in a good one. Here's Ryan Rayburn. Soft line drive to right center, base hit. Peralta rounding third, he'll score. Rayburn on his way to second, and the throw is not in time. Rayburn may be hurt.
All right, looking at the right wrist, kind of shaking it off right there, diving into the bag, maybe jammed his wrist, but Repko comes up, makes a nice one-hop throw, and then right there you can see Rayburn, his left hand gets the bag, and maybe the right wrist getting Plouffe right there in the knee area, right underneath his knee. So Rayburn, an RBI double for Rayburn, his 18th double of the year.
Rayburn makes it a 3-0 game. Here's Austin Jackson.
So the error ends up hurting Carl Pavano and the Twins as Peralta scores the third run.
Jackson 0 for 2, strikeout, ground out in this game. Wave and a miss, 1-1. Jackson, with his speed, has been able to take advantage of the dimensions of Comerica Park, his home ballpark. He has 8 triples, which is tied for third in the American League.
Yeah, Rayburn still shaking that right hand.
Outside. 2-1. Not very good with runners in scoring position this year. Jackson at 214. Slices one to center field. That's a base hit. Rayburn coming to third. They're going to send him home. Revere's throw is cut off. And an RBI single for Austin Jackson.
Well, one thing clubs will do, they will run on Ben Revere's arm out in center field. He can cover some ground. He's made some great catches taking over for Denard Span in center field. But clubs do go from first to third, and they'll go from second to home when that ball is hit to center field. Rivera comes in, and then you can see the long arm. Takes him a little bit longer, but he just doesn't have enough on the throw. So Gene Lamont saying, let's go, keep going. And Rayburn scoring the second run of the inning. The Tigers take a 4-0 lead.
A good read by Ryan Rayburn off the bag at second. Now Santiago. Jackson is a threat to run. He has 18 stolen bases.
And clubs love the run against Carl Pavano. 24 chances, 21 successful against Pavano.
Strike one on Santiago. Rayburn an RBI double in the inning. Jackson an RBI single. Tigers have added to their lead, now 4-0 advantage. Bouncing ball right side, and a diving stop by Hughes to his feet to throw him out.
Yeah, nice defensive play right there by Luke Hughes, diving to his left, and then from his knees he has to get up very quickly and get the out at first base. Jackson advancing to second. So covering some ground right there. Hughes popping back up and getting the second out at first. Good concentration.
Tassoni earlier in the inning, and now Hughes with a diving play. Here's Delman Young with 2 outs. One for 2 for Delman Young. Batting .270 on the year. And Young has had multi-hit games in 5 of the 11 that he has played in with Detroit, so they felt an immediate impact.
Yeah, he's hitting over 300 as a Tiger, so he's doing a good job.
And the Tigers gave up Lester Oliveros, who's in the Twins bullpen right now, and Cole Nelson, who was a minor leaguer.
Cole Nelson from the Twin Cities area.
Bouncing ball to short. Plouffe has this one and throws out Young on the run. Tigers add 2 more and a couple of RBI hits. Now 4-0 Detroit. Sponsored by Gillette Fusion, Gillette's closest, most comfortable shave. Back here in Minnesota, it is 4-0 in favor of Detroit. The Tigers have added 2 more in the top of the 5th. And now here come the Twins in the bottom of the 5th inning. And they have the bottom of the lineup. It'll be Luke Hughes, Jason Repko, and Drew Butera against Justin Verlander. First pitch is drilled to left. It is up. It is high. And that ball is off the foul pole. A home run. Luke Hughes hits his 4th of the year off the pole.
Yeah, he waited on that fastball first pitch and jumped all over it. So Verlander allowing his 18th home run of the year. High fastball. You can see Avila wanting it down, and the ball coming right back into the swing of Luke Hughes. That's a 4-1 ball game.
And maybe a little spark now for Minnesota. Here's Repko. Strike 1.
Now Repko had that great at-bat in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning, an 11-pitch at-bat, finally walked against Verlander.
He sends one high in the air, deep into left field. Young looking up on this ball, and it's gone. Second deck. The Twins have back-to-back home runs. Wow.
That's the first time in almost a week that the Twins have been able to put 2 runs on the board in a game. Back-to-back home runs. Repko hitting his first home run of the year. Got a breaking ball. Saw the fastball to Luke Hughes. Here's a breaking ball, and Repko putting it in the 2nd deck. For Repko, his 15th career home run, his first as a Twin this year.
And the Twins have new life now. They have come back with a pair of runs on Verlander, back-to-back homers. There's a line drive, base hit to left. 3 straight hits against Verlander here in the 5th. And the Twins are perking up. Butera is aboard.
Well, maybe it's Gardy moving on the other side of the dugout. Maybe that helps. He's usually over there on the left side. He decided to move. So let's change it up a little bit.
Even managers can be superstitious.
Oh, yes.
Not just the players.
And I guarantee you, he's not moving from there.
Here's Ben Revere. A wave and a miss. Right now we check in with Chris Rose for a DirecTV game break.
Well, actually, Mario, I'm down here at the opposite end of the Twins dugout. As you mentioned, Ron Gardenhire has made his way down here. He said he's not leaving. I mean, he was here for the Hughes home run. He said, I'm going to stay here. Then the Repko home run, and now the base hit. He said, he looked at me. He said, we're going to Vegas afterward if he gets on base.
Might as well. This might be a double play, and it is a 1-6-3 twin killing. So just like that, they erase Butera.
Well, it's got to be a quick double play right there. Good turn by Verlander, picking up Peralta and feeding him on the left side of second base. Allows Peralta to slide across the base and make a quick throw. Watch this play right here. Verlander, knowing his shortstop's covering, so he leads him on the left side right there to Peralta. And then Peralta just steps and makes a good throw for a quick double play.
Here's Trevor Plouffe with 2 outs. Plouffe this year has 6 home runs, which is more than Mauer and Morneau combined this season for the Twins. Verlander trying to restore some order after giving up a couple of homers and a single. Giving this Twins crowd something to cheer about today. There's a strike call. 2-1.
The Twins haven't had a lot to cheer about here at Target Field this year. They are 28-38, 10 games under 500 at home.
When teams would come into the Metrodome, boy, oh boy, that was one of the best home field advantages in all of baseball.
Well, the Twins had it here last year too. Absolutely. They were 53-28 here at Target Field last year, but not this year.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. Popped him up foul. We'll get back out of play.
You know, I've seen Verlander before. He'll talk to himself out there. He'll talk to the umpire, as we saw earlier in the ball game. And right there, kind of looking at Bruce Dreckman, saying, you know, come on, I need that pitch. Was it down?
3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. So Verlander rebounds after a couple of homers. The Twins have life, though. Luke Hughes and Jason Repko. And the Twins are on the board. sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball across the country. And by Michelin, a better way forward. Back here at Target Field, the Twins back in this one now. 4-2 ball game as we go to the top of the 6th. It'll be Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Alex Avila facing Carl Pavano. Tigers got their first run on the Cabrera home run. That was back in the 2nd, his 24th of the year.
Yeah, fastball away, and Cabrera just hit it right down that right field line for that home run. The first of 2 that Pavano gave up in the 2nd inning.
Cabrera came into this game batting .391 or I should say this year against the Minnesota Twins. Ball high. And Miguel's a guy that has pretty good numbers lifetime against just about every team that he faces. Bouncing ball left side of the infield, and Plouffe with a nice scoop at first base. Check in with Chris Rose now for a DirecTV game break.
All right, Mario, Rockies and Dodgers, and Carlos Gonzalez, 11th straight game with an RBI. That is a new Colorado record. And Tulo's back at it again. Another homer, his 27th of the year. 7 have come in the month of August. It's 3-zip Rockies, now 4-0 in the 4th. Remember to see every baseball game the most in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. Mario and the Hall of Famer back on upstairs to you.
Hi, Chris. Thank you. That Tulowitzki is a heck of a player.
Boy, you know what? It reminds me of Evan Longoria. They're built about the same, just very strong. When they make contact, that ball jumps off their bat.
Victor Martinez takes ball 1. Martinez has singled in 2 at-bats today. Inside from Pavano. Martinez has been able to play as the designated hitter, even though he tweaked his knee earlier this month, and it was a game against Kansas City in a play at the plate, and that has really hamstrung Jim Leyland in terms of his catching position. There's a strike, 2-1.
Well, Don Kelly, I believe, was the backup catcher, but he's not here because of the birth of his son.
Yeah, Don actually caught for the first time in a big league game this year. There's a blowout. Pavano's 2-1. On the ground to the right side. Morneau knocks it down. And Pavano will cover for the out. 2 gone. September 11th, the regular season begins with a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, the Falcons take on the Bears in Chicago as 2 of the NFC's best go head-to-head. Or the Eagles battle the Rams or the Lions Buccaneers. Then the Giants take on the Redskins in D.C. or the Vikings Chargers, Seahawks 49ers, or Panthers Cardinals. Coverage begins Sunday, September 11th with the Billboard Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check local listings for games in your area. Here is Alex Avila with 2 outs. On the ground to the right side and through. Base hit. Second hit of the ball game for Avila.
Yeah, I saw Luke Hughes earlier last inning make a really nice play off of Ramon Santiago, but that ball hit a little bit harder, and Avila picking up his second hit and the 7th for the Tigers.
And his monster August continues. Another 2-hit game for Avila. He was also homered in this game. There's Johnny Peralta. Peralta reaching on an error which opened the door for the Tigers in the 5th. They would end up scoring 2 runs. And right now those 2 runs the difference.
A big slow changeup right there for strike 1 by Pavano. This next pitch will be pitch number 75.
Well, Johnny Peralta joining some names in Tigers history. Their all-time slugging shortstops, 501 slugging percentage. Alan Trammell tops that list. Wave and a miss.
Another good changeup.
0-2.
Well, 2 straight changeups right there. And Peralta just got a piece of it. Peralta just 29 years old in his 2nd season with the Tigers. Came up with the Indians back in 2003. Spent 7 seasons with the Indians.
Well, the Indians wanted to move Peralta to third base, and that's a position he really did not want to play, but he did. And then the Tigers traded for him at the trading deadline last year and then said, you know what, you'll be our shortstop.
Well, I think they're trying to compare Peralta to Omar Vizquel. You can't fill those shoes.
Line drive caught by the second baseman Hughes. Inning over. No runs, one hit, one left. Here comes the bottom of the sixth. Big crowd here in Minneapolis today. It's 4-2 in favor of the Tigers as we go to the bottom of the sixth inning. Twins batting, and they'll have the middle of their lineup: Morneau, Kubel, and Valencia facing Justin Verlander.
This will be pitch number 90 in the ball game for Verlander, and it's out over the plate. We talked about Verlander before. Justin Morneau 1 for 2 so far. A base hit to left field in his first at bat. The workhorse that Verlander has become. Good changeup right there.
Well, he's well over 200 innings this year, and we still have a month to go in the season.
You see the changeup. Again, good location down in the strike zone. That curveball left up.
Morneau last year had to battle the concussion, had a wrist injury this year, a neck injury as well. And it has been one thing after another for the former MVP. And I got to believe that Ron Gardenhire in some ways is looking forward, Bert, to this offseason where he can get some of his key pieces healthy, back in shape going into spring training.
Well, big thing about Justin, he won the American League MVP in 2006, and it just, the last couple of years have just been very frustrating for him. And Twins would like to see him end the season with some more pop in his bat. His last home run came May 31st. Now, he spent some time on a disabled list, but they just don't see the power right now out of Justin Morneau. See Ron Gardenhire edging back toward the end of the dugout again. It worked last inning. Try it again.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 96 from Verlander.
I like about Justin Verlander is a couple things. We're going to show you in slow motion his delivery. Verlander just picking up his 6th strikeout, but I like the left shoulder. Keep an eye on the left shoulder, how he keeps it in. and then he stays tall over the pitching rubber, just like that. And then keep the left shoulder in mind again. Look at how it tucks that ball in. And then one more thing, watch the right foot come through. I like that when it comes over the left foot.
Driven into the corner in left field. Dalman Young goes back to the wall to haul it in. Kubel gave it a ride.
We can go back to his delivery. Watch the right foot. A lot of guys will not, bring that right foot through. Watch it, the way it goes in front of the left foot, and he allows his arm to come through rather than recoil a little bit. Very smooth delivery, very powerful delivery, utilizing the lower part of his foundation, his trunk.
Yeah, and that's the key. And they've talked about Verlander has strong legs, and as you mentioned, that trunk is so important to his balance. Valencia looks at a strike. Danny Valencia 0 for 1 with a walk.
Good curveball there. Well, we've seen a good fastball. We've seen the four-seamer. We've seen the two-seamer run in on right-handers. We've seen the slider. There's the curveball right there. And got a piece of Avila. And the very good changeup. So 4 pitches that he can control. The pitch count high, but nothing new to this guy right here, Verlander. He has thrown over 100 pitches in a ball game 8 times this year. Over 120. That's unheard of.
Still has a lot left in his tank. The 0-2. No on the appeal, says Alan Porter.
So I've never been a big fan, opponent of the 100 pitches and then all of a sudden take that starter out. Not when you have a horse like that. Look at that, averaging almost 117 pitches per game.
Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, with a close eye on his ace. Back up the middle, into center field, base hit. 2-out single for Valencia, who fell behind in the count.
Well, nice at bat for Valencia. Verlander kept feeding him curveballs, and finally that last one, even though it looked like his lower part of his body had committed, he kept his hands back and right off the end of the bat. Watch the lower part of his body and then just reaches out and hits it right back up the middle. So Valencia picks up his first hit.
Here's Rene Tassoni. He's 0 for 2. Twins have 6 hits in this game. Tigers have 7.
Twins have had some success against Verlander. He's making his 21st career start against the Twins. He's 9-7 with an ERA at 3.41. So it's not like he has dominated the Twins over his career.
Well, he was cruising along in this one until the back-to-back home runs by Hughes and Repko greeted him in the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 on Tassoni. Valencia down at first is not a base stealer per se, but Verlander has one of the quickest moves for a right-handed pitcher.
Quick feet. Quick feet. Very indeed. Quick feet, yeah. I played with a guy in California, Kirk McCaskill. Same thing. Just you either have it or you don't.
The quickness in the feet, that's something you can teach.
It's just something, He's probably a very good dancer, too.
You know what? I've never asked him that.
I had 2 left feet.
You and me both. A little bit outside. 2-1 now on Rene Tassoni. Verlander with at least 17 wins in 5 of his first 6 full seasons in the major leagues. And as we have documented today, shooting for number 20 for the first time in his career.
Yeah, his rookie season, 17 wins, then 18, then he lost 11. Or excuse me, he only won 11, then 19 and 18. And here this afternoon looking for 20.
3-1. 20-game winner since 1969 in Tigers history. The last time they had someone do it was 1991 when Bill Gullickson won 20 that year. But his ERA that season was in the high 3s. Verlander's is in the low 2s. And he walked him.
Third walk of the game for Justin Verlander.
Fox Sports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. Stand up for someone you love. Visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports to learn more.
Hey, that's my jacket right there. I wear also the flag for our military.
You're giving away our secrets here. 2 on 2 outs. Here is Luke Hughes. He got it rolling for Minnesota with a home run that greeted Verlander in the 5th.
Hey, jumped on that first fastball. See what Verlander starts him here with a couple runners on and 2 outs. And it's a fastball that goes right after him.
And this is what we talked about. Late in games, when he needs to reach back at 99, he can.
They said, okay, you hit my fastball the first time up. You're not here. I'm going to add about 3-4 miles an hour to it.
Driven to right center field. That ball is hit well. Jackson and Rayburn on the run. It's up against the wall. 2 runs coming home for Minnesota, and they have tied it up. It's a 4-4 game.
Well, Verlander went to the well one too many times. He just threw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, so he challenges him again. And this time Hughes quickening up his bat and hits that ball to deep right center. So Gardy not leaving his spot, leaving just to go congratulate everybody, and then marches back toward the end of the dugout. Another fastball. This time Hughes catches up to it. And with 2 outs, it's off to the races for the runners. Danny Valencia and Tassoni score and tie the game at 4 apiece.
Quick visit for Jeff Jones, and Verlander now has allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. And what a day for Hughes, a homer and a 2-run double against Verlander. All of this with 2 outs. It began with a 2-out single, and there's activity now in the Detroit bullpen. Daniel Schlereth is warming up. Here's Jason Repko, a chance for Minnesota to take the lead.
Well, Repko hitting his first home run as a Twin this year, his 4th overall and his 15th career home run. That made it a 4-2 ball game.
Breaking ball missing away.
So 4 runs that Verlander has allowed him so far here this afternoon. It's only the 6th time that he's given up 4 or more runs in an outing. Again, making his 29th start. Good curveball there.
That gets him ahead of Repko 1-2. Line drive caught at third by Bettamy.
Boy, he left a hanger up, and Repko hit it sharply, but right at Bettamy.
We'll return to Minneapolis after word from your local Fox station. Top of the 7th inning. And now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight. We'll do that in a moment. In the meantime, Wilson Betemit will lead things off. It'll be Betemit, Rayburn, and Jackson. 4-4 game as the Twins have come back to tie it up. 2-run double by Luke Hughes. And all of a sudden, Carl Pavano now has new life. He's pitched a pretty good ball game here this afternoon. He scattered 7 hits. His teammates have supported him.
Yeah, 15 of 26 first pitch strikes for Pavano, changing speeds. Again, in 78 pitches, this is how Pavano's able to go deep into the ball game.
Pitcher comparison here this afternoon as Betemit takes it high and inside.
Yeah, Verlander with 112 pitches in his 6 innings.
Rayburn and then Jackson to follow. Two and one. Pavano surrendering homers to Cabrera and Avila in the 2nd, and a couple of more in the 5th. RBI hits by Rayburn and Jackson. Wave and a miss.
A good change up there. Now two of the runs were scored in the 5th. Only 1 earned run off of Pavano. Another good change up. And he, like Verlander, does a good job of keeping that shoulder in and hiding that ball as long as possible.
To center field, a base hit. Leadoff man is on. Betemit with a base hit. Now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight, and it's Luke Hughes having a big day today. He homered in the 5th inning off Justin Verlander against the foul pole, and then followed that up in the 6th inning with a 2-run double to right center field, waiting 2 more, tying the game. And just as Luke Hughes gives the Minnesota Twins the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard.
Yeah, Hughes 2 for 3, driven in 3 of the 4 runs.
Had a big day against a really good pitcher. Here's Rayburn.
Something he can go back to Australia and talk about.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Ryan 1 for 2 in this game. Here's Luke enjoying his outstanding day.
You betcha, mate.
We'll keep an eye on Betemit. 4 out of 5 this year in the stolen base column.
I mentioned before, clubs run against Pavano 24 opportunities. They've been successful 21 times.
Rayburn showing bunt, and he'll get the job done here. Sacrifice advances the runner.
Well, you're asked to bunt, you lay it down. Rayburn with his 4th sacrifice of the year, getting Betemit into scoring position with 1 out.
Turn things over now to the top of the lineup. Jim Leyland on this road trip for the Tigers has played some really gritty ball games. They had 3 close ones in Tampa, taking 3 out of 4 there. They faced some really good pitching against the Rays. He's involved in another tight one here today. Ball 1 to Jackson. Jackson singled in a run in the 5th inning. At the time, making it 4-0 Tigers. One ball, 1 strike. Jackson fouls it straight back. 1-2 on the Tigers leadoff man.
For Pavano, he's making his 267th major league start. There's the pitch count, still very good for Pavano here in the 7th inning. Pavano 103 wins, 99 losses in his career. He had the frustrating 4 years in New York.
Didn't he, though?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, signed with Cleveland, then traded over to Minnesota. A free agent at the end of the year. The Twins needed him to come back after a 17-win season last year. He signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah, that stretch in New York, he appeared in just 26 games with the Yankees over the 4-year period. And the 1-2. Just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jackson. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal, who has more on Carl Pavano. Ken?
Guys, you talk about the New York years. Yankees general manager Brian Cashman always defended Pavano. Said, listen, the guy was hurt. Now, obviously, he became the subject of much scorn in New York, something similar to what A.J. Burnett is experiencing now. But he's revived his career, and really in a big way.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. He had that. We went through the Tommy John surgery in 2007. You know, it just didn't pan out there. They gave him a lot of money, but just did not pan out.
Won a World Series with the Marlins back in 2003.
Yeah, when they beat the Yankees.
Right. Absolutely. And when he joined forces in the Bronx, it didn't quite work out. But as he mentioned, a 17-game winner last year. And this is a guy that I don't know that would be considered a true ace on a staff, but certainly is a guy that has been able to pitch at the top of the Twins rotation.
Well, it's sad to say in Minnesota, nobody's really stepped forward. It was Pavano last year because of the 17 wins and able to pitch 221 innings. And he just misses again. First walk for Pavano.
That'll put 2 men on. Next weekend, college football comes to FX as Charles Davis and Gus Johnson bring you the action. Beginning in Norman, Oklahoma, where the #1 ranked Sooners host the upset-minded in-state rival Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. The FX Saturday College Football Game of the Week presented by Russell Athletics and High Definition. All season long, only on FX. Check local listings for channel and start time in your area. So 2 men on now for the Tigers. They try and break this tie, and here is Ramon Santiago. Santiago has put the ball on the ground 3 times against Pavano, who has gotten a ton of ground ball outs in this game. Missed it away, 1-1.
Yeah, all 3 ground ball outs over to the right side of the field. Remember his last at bat in the 5th inning. Luke Hughes made a nice diving play to get Santiago out at first. That advanced Jackson to second.
It has been somewhat of a revolving door at second base for Jim Leland. Scott Sizemore played there earlier this year. They've had Santiago. Carlos Guillen took over that role, but he is injured now.
Matt Kapp starting to loosen up.
The 2-1. Wave and a miss.
Another great changeup. What makes a good changeup is your arm speed. It looks just like a fastball. Watch Pavano, and then just pulls the string, and Santiago way out front.
Crowd starting to get into it now. Tigers threatening here in the 7th in a 4-4 game.
And Butera out to make sure exactly what he wants to do right here.
Drew Butera's father Sal played for the Twins in the early 80s, then again back in 87.
Yes, Sal now scouting for the Toronto Blue Jays. We see him from time to time around the American League. Well, the numbers on Pavano: 3 earned runs in 6 in the 3rd innings. Again, over his last 4 starts, a 2.76 combined ERA, but 0-2.
Lifted toward left, but foul. 2-2 on Santiago. Just 1 for 14 on the Tigers' current road trip that has taken them through Tampa and now here in Minnesota.
Santiago having a good at bat, fouling off some pitches, making Pavano work.
Justin Verlander was cruising along until the Twins got 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. They've hit a couple of home runs against him. High and inside, and now the count fills. 3-2.
Now everybody looking at Gene Lamont. There's Jim Leland want the runners to take off here.
Runners hold, and he got him. Strike 3.
They pulled the string again. And Santiago, after a good at-bat, fouled a lot of pitches off. This battle won by Carl Pavano. Kind of froze Santiago. Watch his reaction right here. Just couldn't pull the trigger on a ball pretty much right down the middle of the plate. So Pavano picks up his 4th strikeout.
Santiago gave him a battle, an 8-pitch at bat today, the longest the Tigers have had against Pavano. It'll take a 2-out hit now from Delman Young. He is 1 for 3. Ball 1.
Well, Delman Young, not a guy that will let a lot of pitches go by. He doesn't walk a lot. He's up there for one reason, and that's a swing to bat.
And he shoots one to right field, sinking, base hit. Here comes Benamite rounding third. He will come in to score, and Delman Young comes through again for the Tigers. Detroit has retaken the lead.
Good piece of hitting right there by Delman Young. Pitch away, and he just went with it. His 2nd hit of the ball game, driving in his 42nd run. See the ball up, and Delman, great look at the eyes right there. They opened up even more. And lines this ball in front of Repko, and with 2 outs, Benamite scores. And the Tigers, this is how you win pennants right here. Good 2-out hitting.
That'll signal the end for Carl Pavano. Pitching change here in Minneapolis. We'll be back. The Minnesota Twins. The Twins have relinquished the lead. It's now 5-4 Detroit, and Caps will pitch out of the pen for Pavano.
Yeah, Caps came into the season as a closer, basically. Joe Nathan kind of struggled early on. Caps became the closer. Now he's kind of a setup guy. It's been kind of a disappointing season for Matt Caps. 4-6 out of the bullpen. The ERA at 4.39. He's allowed 9 home runs, making his 58th relief appearance. Excellent control, only 9 walks in the 56 innings pitched.
And he'll come in to face Miguel Cabrera, who was homered in the ball game, 1 for 3.
Well, I know Pavano's upset because you know what, your team scores the runs for you to tie it, and then you go back out, and big RBI single with 2 outs for Delmon Young.
Now Caps ready with the 2-0. Drill to center field. That's a base hit, and Miguel Cabrera makes it a 2-run game.
He left a breaking ball that just hung up right there, and Cabrera with his second RBI of the ball game. That run charged to Carl Pavano. Such a good hitter. You make a mistake on him, he'll do this. Watch this pitch right here. It just kind of spun right there, and Cabrera lines it right up the middle. Saw his home run go to right. That base hit right up the middle.
2 RBI day for Cabrera. 83 driven in for the big horse in the middle of the lineup for Detroit. And Verlander once again has a 2-run lead now. Here's Victor Martinez. Ball 1. Well, Martinez has really excelled in these situations. 402 with runners in scoring position, and nobody has been better in the American League.
We had a chance to talk to Jim Leyland before the ball game about Victor Martinez, and he just said he's one of these players that seem to slow everything down in situations like this. And what does he mean by that? That he knows the situation, he knows the count. In yesterday's ball game, I'm trying to think, it was Diamond that fell behind 2-0, and then Martinez sat on the fastball and just clobbered it for a 2-run double.
Well, Jim has also said that just watching him from afar as an opposing player, he had no idea the type of plate discipline that Martinez has, and you really don't see those things until you watch a guy play every day.
Yeah, that was against Glenn Perkins. Perkins
right?
Came in relief, fell behind, and threw him a fastball. Martinez hit the double.
2-1 on Victor Martinez.
Even that pitch right there, he got underneath it, but Caps, he's going to be around the plate. He's going to challenge you, and the fastball up a little bit, and he fouled it off.
Daniel Schlereth is still tuning up in the Detroit bullpen.
Verlander 6 innings, 112 pitches. Had some big innings as far as amount of pitches in an inning. 28, and the last one 23, 28 in the first. Kind of set the tone for Verlander that pitch count would be up quickly.
It sure was, and it has played out that way. Here's the 2-1. The inning started with a single, a sacrifice, a walk mixed in, but really 2 big 2-out hits.
Well, good take right there, and good hitters always seem to have the count in their favor. Now Matt Capps, I mentioned only 9 walks for Capps in 56 innings pitched. He's going to try to maybe throw fastball away, hopefully get an out. Those are the numbers you were talking about right there, Mario. With 402 batting average.
Bouncing ball to the right side and gobbled up there by Hughes. That'll end the inning. However, the Tigers score a pair. They've taken a 2-run lead. Gillette is sponsored by Sprint. All together now. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Tigers are back on top here at Target Field in Minnesota. 6-4 is our score as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and Justin Verlander is back on the hill.
Look at that, 112 pitches for Verlander. He got that 2-run lead, and I'm sure he had to convince Jeff Jones and Jim Leyland, hey, I'm okay. You know, I can still get that ball in the upper 90s.
First pitch is popped up foul, back out of play. Drew Butera, the batter. He'll be followed by Revere and Plouffe.
Take a look at this pitch speeds on the top left of your screen, where the fastest pitch per inning has been. It's all 97, 98, last inning 99.
Well, Justin Verlander this year, one of the reasons I think he's taken the next step is that he's been able to back off that fastball early. And he had done that early in the season, was throwing 92, 93 early in games. But in the last 2 weeks or so, he has really cranked it up. And today is no different. And I think he's starting to feel now that he can help his team win a pennant.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you look at his delivery again. He's a guy that doesn't put a lot of stress on that right shoulder. Very good, smooth delivery. And you love his aggressiveness, the way that he comes right at the hitters. He's not afraid. That breaking ball down and in.
Well, of course, Verlander is getting some talk about MVP as well. Let's bring in Ken Rosenthal. Ken, your thoughts on a pitcher winning the MVP?
Well, I have a vote this year, guys, and ordinarily I don't support a pitcher, preferring the everyday player. But the case for Verlander, well, we're seeing it right here. A guy who can impact 3 games out of 5. Leland can empty his bullpen the day before he pitches and rest his bullpen the day after, or have it all available. But here's the problem. The first 2 criteria that voters are instructed to consider are actual value of a player to his team, strength of offense and defense, and number 2 is number of games played. Now, there's ample room for subjectivity here, and Bert Blyleven, of course, knows all about the subjectivity of the Baseball Writers Association of America. But, Bert, I'm happy to say that we finally saw the light.
Well, thank you, Ken. But, no, I agree. I agree with you, Ken, that, you know, I think an MVP should be an everyday player because they're out there busting their tail in and day in and day out. And, you know, Verlander's out there once every 5th day. And I know he's so important to the rotation. I know what he brings. If he can go deep into the ball game, it gives that bullpen, you know, some time off. But yeah, I agree with you, Ken. I just but there have been players before, pitchers before, that have won the Cy Young and the MVP.
Ken, let me ask you this. What if Verlander wins 22, 23 games or so, leads the league in strikeouts, and leads the league in ERA as well? Does that change your mind?
Mario, my mind is open. And one thing here is the other players involved. Jose Bautista's having a great year. Curtis Granderson's having a great year. 2 members of the Red Sox, Adrian Gonzalez and Jacoby Ellsbury. But hey, if he gets to 23-24, this debate will rage.
All right.
It's a good move right here by Jim Leyland, taking out Verlander, and we'll tell you why after the break.
taken out of this game, and he will turn things over to the bullpen. 6+ innings in this game, 8 hits and 4 runs. He finishes up with 6 strikeouts.
Yeah, I ended that before the break. I said that was a very, very good move by Jim Leyland. They let Verlander go out there until he got somebody on base, and I really believe, late in the ball game, when you have your horse out on that mound, and we didn't see the best of Justin Verlander today, but Jim Leyland made the move because he could still get the win in this ball game. He faces another hitter, another guy gets on. Verlander right now is a pitcher of record, and I think that was a good move.
And he's thrown as many as 132 pitches in a game, Bert, this year. But I think Leyland also wants to be careful with his workload, especially this late in the season.
You can throw 132 pitches as long as a lot of the innings weren't under duress, and too many innings here this afternoon for Verlander were under duress.
So they turn things over to Daniel Schlereth, who has been very good against left-handed batters. And he will face Ben Revere.
Yeah, the biggest thing for Schlereth is the walks. 26 walks, now 3 intentional in 39 2/3 innings.
Revere in this game, a single, double play ball, and a strikeout. Schlereth, they feel, has an electric arm. He has a fastball, basically fastball curveball, and he's about 50-50 with both of those pitches. But what he has done against left-handed batters this year has made him really good and really valuable to Jim Leyland. They bat just 157 against him.
He started the season with the Tigers optioned out for about a month and then recalled the end of July.
Right back to the mound. This could be 2. Here's Peralta's relay. Not in time. Too much speed for Revere.
I think Schlereth a little bit upset because he kind of threw a changeup to second base. And Peralta, I think, kind of looking at him. And, we saw Verlander earlier against Ben Revere get a ball, and then he threw him a P to Peralta. But right here, once Schlereth gets the ball, he has a little trouble getting that ball out of his glove, and a little crow hop. And Revere's speed this time, he stays out of the double play. And you see Revere hustling down that line.
Here's Trevor Plouffe. Skies this one in the air to center field. Austin Jackson is on the run. He'll get to the warning track. Jackson just glides to baseballs.
Well, the deepest part of the field here is 411, right at the bullpen fence. And Jackson needed all of that room to go back and make the catch. Just like Comerica Park, there's a lot of room out in center field here. It's hard to hit one straight away center. Plouffe gave it a ride, but now Jackson backpedaling, getting underneath it.
The center field at Comerica Park is 420 feet, and Austin Jackson has learned to play it very well.
I love those fields. They don't make them like that anymore.
No. Again, spoken by a pitcher. All inside that sends Avila sprawling. Justin Morneau batting with 2 outs. 1 for 3 in this game. All 3 of those at bats against Verlander. Schlereth comes from a football background. His dad, of course, played in the NFL. Mark Schlereth is an offensive lineman with the Redskins and the Broncos. Daniel gravitated toward baseball, though.
His father, a former offensive lineman. So that's probably a dad that you didn't want to fool around with.
No, not at all. It's Paulie and Benoit heat up in the Detroit bullpen. The 2-1 pitch. Again in the air to center. Jackson again on his horse. And he'll run it down right in front of 411. Schlereth gets 3 quick outs, 7 in the books.
Keep him in the ballpark.
Saturday Baseball presented by Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. Back here at Target Field where the Tigers and Twins go at it here today. The Tigers on top 6-4 as we go to the top of the 8th. Alex Avila will lead it off against Matt Capps, who took over for Carl Pavano in the 7th.
Yeah, first hitter he faced, Miguel Cabrera, got an RBI single off of him, then a retired Victor Martinez on a ground ball to Luke Hughes at second.
Avila with a homer and a single in this game, 2 more hits, and he skies this one to shallow left. Rene Tassoni. 1 out.
Well, a couple more things about Justin Verlander. He threw 120 pitches in his 6+ innings. It's the 9th time that he's had 120 pitches or more in a ball game. And for Verlander, it's also 6 innings. He didn't go 7. It's the first time over his 7-game winning streak that he's on right now that he didn't go at least 7 innings. So the workhorse continues. Just was not real sharp here this afternoon.
Nope, but he's brought his team late into the game with the lead.
Again.
And Verlander has had winning streaks of 9 and 7 this year. Johnny Peralta batting with 1 out. Peralta reaching on an error back in the 5th. The Tigers got a couple of runs in that frame. Matt Capps came over from Washington last July, combined to roll up 42 saves with the Nationals and the Twins.
Yeah, 26 for the Nationals, and came over to Minnesota, had 16 saves. Remember, Joe Nathan missed a whole year due to Tommy John surgery.
To shallow right and caught by Luke Hughes. Well, only 12 days until the NFL season starts. Create your fantasy football team today at foxsports.com/fantasy. Play against friends, compete against other Fox Sports users. It's free and it's easy to play. Sign up today at foxsports.com/fantasy. Play fantasy football, Bert?
No, I do not. How about yourself?
Oh, I love it. I'm not very good at it, but I play it. Here's Brandon Inge getting his first at bat. Ball 1 from Capps. Inge basically these days will start against left-handed starting pitching and used late in games, as he is today, as a defensive replacement. Longtime Tiger, who earlier this year was designated for assignment, went down to the minor leagues and spent about a month at Toledo.
Yeah, and you know what? That kind of revitalized his career. I think just to go down and just get some at-bats. He hit well down there, 287, hit some home runs.
And he said something interesting when he got back. He said, you know, I didn't work a thing on mechanics when I went down. I just worked out just trying to have fun in the game. And sometimes you lose sight of that.
It's 11th season with the Tigers. You know, he was signed as a shortstop. They put him behind the plate for a while.
Jim Leland absolutely loves him. He is a blue-collar type player, but this year he had really struggled offensively. The 1-2. 2-2 on Brandon Inge. Capps missing. Fill the count now, 3-2.
Yeah, a little cutter slider just missing the outer half of the plate.
Rayburn would be next if Inge keeps it going. Fouled off. Capps last year had 16 saves down the stretch for Minnesota. Twins at one point had a few closers in their bullpen last year.
Yeah, they did. You know, and they lost a lot of good arms out of that bullpen. Jesse Crane, Matt Guerrero, John Roush. Ryan Fuentes came over late last year. Butera trying to calm him down. Okay, give me a good fastball down and away.
Swing and a miss. He blows him away up in the zone. And
okay, it wasn't down and away.
It was up in the zone for strike 3. Verizon, the destination for tablets powered by 4G LTE. And by DirecTV. Now get DirecTV's best offer of the year. Winding this one down here in Minneapolis, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Tigers currently holding a 2-run lead over the Twins. And the new pitcher for Detroit is their 8th inning specialist. That would be the setup man, Joaquin Benoit.
Yeah, 41 saves by the Tigers, the most in the American League, and you cannot get to your closer without some good setup, man. And Benoit has been outstanding this year for the Tigers.
Jim Leyland likes the setup where he can bring Benoit in the 8th, Valverde in the 9th. He has it set up so far like that in this one. And a strike called on Jason Kubel.
Benoit with a good fastball, sharp slider, and a very good changeup in his first season with the Tigers. Last year with the Rays.
Last year, his season with the Rays, one of the best turned in by a non-closer, really any type of reliever. Driven high in the air to left field. That ball is hit well. Delman Young going back to the wall, and he makes the catch. Delman Young with a fine running play, and Benoit says thank you very much.
But second time that Jason Kubel hit a deep fly ball to left field. And Delman Young seeing where he's at. And right on that warning track. Now it's a warning track that's a little wider than most warning tracks. So outfielders, and maybe help Delman Young right there, realizing that some warning tracks you take 1, 2, 3 steps. Here it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 before you hit the wall. So a little wider warning track.
Here's Danny Valencia.
Yeah, Mario, Benoit was a guy that Texas kind of gave up on. He had some arm injuries. He was looking for a place to pitch. Started the season in the minor leagues for the Rays last year. And then when he came up, my goodness, what a job he did. 63 appearances for the Tampa Bay Rays last year. A 1.34 earned run average.
And he parlayed that effort last year in a free agent contract with the Detroit Tigers in the offseason as they look to rebuild the back end of their bullpen.
Yeah, signed a 3-year contract worth about $5.5 million a year.
The 1-1. Bouncing ball to short. Johnny Peralta.
A good slider right there. Good location.
2 gone. Hey, check out the MLB Fan Cave at MLBFanCave.com. Many of baseball's biggest stars have stopped by the cave. Check out the videos and see who will visit the cave next. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave page on Facebook. This week at the MLB Fan Cave, a new video posted on MLBFanCave.com features Braves Rookie of the Year candidates Craig Kimbrell and Freddie Freeman. Check it out. Here is Rene Tassoni with 2 away. Ball 1 high to Tassoni. He's had a walk, a run scored, and a really good sliding catch out in left field. Benoit, 34 years old, as Bert mentioned, began his career with the Texas Rangers in their rotation. And then injured, did not pitch all of 2009. Really, Joe Madden and the Rays took a chance on him, and he fit nicely in the back end of their pen.
Oh, he sure did.
The 2-0. 2-1. Sony trying to get something going here with 2 outs. The Twins back in the 6th inning had 2 out, nobody on, and they ended up scoring 2 runs in that frame.
He pulled the string right there, right off the end of the bat. Sony checking out his bat. One of those bats that are cupped at the end.
Tassoni's had 3 career home runs. 2 of them have come against Tigers pitching.
Yeah, his first Major League home run came back on May 10th against Rick Porcello, the starter for the Tigers yesterday, that won his 12th game, beating the Twins 8-1.
Wave and a miss. Cassoni goes down. Avila will throw down to complete the strikeout, and Benoit comes out of the pen and throws a 1-2-3-8. On we go to the ninth. The ninth inning, Ryan Rayburn will lead it off, and let's take a look at today's Burger King mini moments. And Berta came back in the seventh.
Yeah, seventh inning. Betamete to start off the big inning with a base hit. Then, Rayburn right there asked to bunt. He does it successfully. Well, that inning, because of the bunt, helped the Tigers score 2 runs. The walk to Jackson, the Santiago strikeout, but then the big RBI single by Delman Young that gave the Tigers a run, and then Miguel Cabrera greeted Matt Capps with a base hit and an RBI. Alex Burnett coming into the ball game, one of the young guys in that Twins bullpen, making his 55th relief appearance. Burnett, 24 years old, in his second season with the Twins.
He's a Southern California boy, Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach. Think he serves? Probably does.
Probably does.
Rayburn leading it off.
Hang 10.
Lifted in the air, right side of the infield. Morneau is under it, and Rayburn is out.
Yeah, sometimes for relievers, earned run averages are a little deceiving at times. We showed you his ERA at 5.52. He's actually pitched, I feel, a lot better. I get a chance to watch him, and as the season has gone on, he's gotten better and better. It takes sometimes young kids, a time to kind of feel comfortable at the major league level. 3 stints last year, 2 stints this year, and now he's one of the mainstays out in that bullpen.
Austin Jackson, the batter. I've always thought with relievers, Bert, that you're right, ERA can sometimes not really tell the whole picture, whereas if you look at how many inherited runners have scored, sometimes that gives you a better view. That's rolled to the shortstop, Plouffe. And Jackson is out, 2 gone.
Well, I always look at the first hitter, how they do, and against Alex Burnett, first hitters are hitting just 11 for 49. That's a 224 batting average.
Jose Valverde, the Tigers closer, is tuning up. He'll be coming into this game. Here is Santiago. Santiago hitless today, 0 for 4. Fouled back out of play.
Burnett's got one of those nice, easy deliveries. That last fastball at 95. Drafted by the Twins in 2005.
Ouch. That is going to hurt. And Santiago hits the deck.
Well, fastball middle in. Where did it get him? Oh, one ringy dingy.
Kevin Rand comes out to take a look.
Yeah, what's he going to do?
Hopefully not a whole lot. He's just going to have to walk this one off.
Remember where they used to have that little spray?
Yeah, well, that doesn't figure in here. The ethyl chloride, freeze it up a little bit. You don't want that in this case.
The temperature's probably about 75 degrees here at 6 o'clock, almost 6 o'clock, and it's probably 100 degrees in his body,
to say the least. 1-2 on Santiago. He's been able to shake it off. Ball high, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Twins have the bottom 3 scheduled going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Popped up back out of play.
This guy right here, Santiago, has been a nice fit for the Tigers. He came up with the Tigers back in 2002 and then spent some time in Seattle and then came back in 2006. Got 10 years of major league experience already.
He sure does.
Good utility type player.
And he's been successful in that role, and he's been able to stay in the big leagues, Bert, I think because he understands his role.
Yep.
And a lot of guys want to play every single day, and don't get me wrong, I think Santiago does as well, but he understands that he is probably better suited for this team in the utility role. Fouls off another.
Well, Carlos Guillen has missed some time, you know, and you need guys to pick guys up. I mean, he can play almost anywhere you want to put him. Good utility player.
He can give Johnny Peralta a blow at short, can even play some third if need be. The versatility that Jim Leland loves. Johnny Peralta has been steady Eddie this year at that shortstop position. Didn't go around, and he's still alive.
Yeah, the breaking ball went around the plate, said Bruce Streckman.
The 3-2 pitch. Lifted to center field. Revere coming hard, and he makes a diving catch. Ben Revere shown off again with a terrific play. Jose Valverde about to check in his 500th career appearance when we get to the bottom of the 9th. Inning, Tigers on top in this one 6-4, and Jose Valverde has checked in now to try and save this one for the Tigers.
Look at that. That's the biggest thing right there. 38 for 38 in save opportunities for Valverde. He has been a godsend to the bullpen, and you know what? You put in the guys around him, and it gives them that opportunity to do that. Benoit, very good. 1-2-3, 8th inning.
Well, in a save situation, it's much different numbers-wise.
I think we've seen this from closers, good closers. That when the game's on the line, boy, they really focus. And sometimes, they just need some work in, and they don't take it as serious. Well, he's serious in this one.
Well, he's got Luke Hughes, Jason Repko, and Drew Butera due up here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Yeah, that's the bottom of the lineup for the Twins that have done a lot of the damage. Hughes 2 for 3. He's driven in 3 of the 4 runs. On deck, Repko, home run, and then Butera, a couple hits.
They've done all the damage. 1 ball, 1 strike. And there you go, 5 for 8.
Yeah, only 3 other hits for the Twins. An infield single by Ben Revere, Morneau single, and then Danny Valencia single up the middle.
Valverde last year threw a split finger pitch that was absolutely dominant in the first half of the year. It kind of escaped him a little bit in the second half, and his control with that has not been as good as you look at the most consecutive saves since '69. Valverde, dating back to last year, has 39 in a row. But this year he's backed off the split finger pitch a little bit, and he's throwing more 2-seamers.
Boy, Tom Gordon was fun to watch. He could do it all. He started for the Royals. He relieved for so many different clubs. He had a rubber arm. You go to Little League games, you always see that kid out there just throwing. Hey, pitcher's got a rubber arm. Tom Gordon had a rubber arm. Flash Gordon.
3-1 the count on Luke Hughes.
Valverde, 33 years old, from the Dominican Republic. His second season with the Tigers. Most saves he ever had was with the Diamondbacks back in 2007. He had 47 and then repeated 44 the next year with the Astros.
3-2. As Jim Leyland said before the game today, there are times when he will keep you on the edge of your seat. But when a save has been on the line this year, he's come through every single time. Earlier this season, picked up the 200th save of his major league career. That came in Toronto. Fouled back out of play.
And right to our boot to the right. Bob Kurtz and Dan Gladden. Gladden always has his glove there. But the ball was hit right to Bob Kurtz. Radio play-by-play crew here in Minnesota. Glad he giving the ball away.
Does he even need a glove? He still has some skills.
I told him, you finally brought a glove up here. He never brought it to the ballpark when we were teammates.
That's popped up a mile-high third base side. Inge drifting, and he'll have room.
Yeah, that ball came back a little bit. Inge was running toward the tarp and then kind of had to say, oh, hey, that ball's coming back into play. Watch Inge's reaction right here. He's looking where he's at, puts his hand where the tarp was, and the ball came back into the playing field.
Here's Jason Repko. Valverde able to keep the leadoff man off the bases. There's a strike 0-1. Repko homered off Verlander in the 5th. Verlander was cruising along up 4-0 and then gave up back-to-back homers to Hughes and Repko, the 7 and 8 hitters.
Yeah, Verlander, the pitcher of record, looking for his 20th win of the year.
Driven to center field. Jackson on the move. 2 gone.
Well, one thing that we haven't, we've seen Jackson make some good catches with both outfielders here this afternoon. They cover a lot of ground. Ben Revere and then Austin Jackson, excuse me.
And they each have an explosive first step. Jackson was an outstanding high school basketball player. Was going to go play hoops at Georgia Tech before he decided to go the baseball route.
Yeah, it's fun to watch center fielders play their position. How quick they are. Cat-like instincts out there.
Here is Drew Butera now with 2 outs. The Twins down to their final out.
Yeah, and the sun coming out, I think, for the first time. Jackson actually in the sun, kind of shielding his eyes a little bit out in center field.
It's been an overcast day here in Minneapolis, but there's the sunshine. Better late than never.
Well, you wonder if he brought his sunglasses out there, not anticipating. Yeah, he's got his glasses out there.
Popped him up. First base side, Cabrera camping under it. And Valverde has saved his 39th in a row, and the Tigers win it here today for Justin Verlander, who gets his 20th of the season.
Yeah, congratulations to Justin Verlander. He becomes the 46th Detroit Tiger to win 20 ball games in a season.
6-4 your final score. We'll be back to wrap things up from Target Field right after this.